Hi there and welcome. This is Jeanette and this is day 3 of my Christmas series for 2018. Today I have another album page to share with you. I love these new images by Marina Fedotova for Whimsy stamps, and I think they look so sweet in my December daily album. But this image could also be used for a card front. So if you're not into making album pages, you could still create this and make it into a card. So I like to start off by having all my supplies laid out. So I have my image that is stamped on Neenah cardstock. I have this paper pad from Whimsy. Unfortunately, I don't think they carry it anymore. If you have some in your stash, that's great. If not, they do have some beautiful digital paper that's being released this month that is quite similar in color. So I will link to that for you. So I usually like to use 2 different patterns on my page. And so I'm putting this sort of starry sky, I would say, on the top, and then this stripe on the bottom. And I would say it's about half and half. I like to glue them down on a sort of base. I always have a 6x8 cardstock base for my album pages. Now where that intersection between the 2 papers is, I generally put ribbon, or in this case I am just cutting a slim piece of contrasting paper. I decided to go with that sort of more narrow one, and I just put that where the 2 papers meet each other, and then it looks decorative and you don't see that. I'm going to just trim off the end of my paper here, and I'm going to die cut it using that nice rectangle. It'll be linked. Everything I'm using will be linked at the bottom of this video. So I'm going to cut that out. It gives a very nice little detail along the edges. And then I will take some of this glitter paper and I'm going to cut out the Christmas word die as well as these pretty little snowflakes. And I'm going to put those aside to use. So I'm just looking and making sure that I have enough components for my page, and I'm happy with how that's going to look. And now we're going to do the coloration. I always like to include the coloration when I can because I know a lot of you enjoy it and like seeing the colors I'm using and how I'm using them. But if you don't want to see the coloration, then just skip ahead to about 2/3 of this video and you can see how I put the rest of the page together. So I'm going to leave this music on for you so you can listen to it and watch the coloration, and I will catch you at the end. the background, you can see the markers I used here. The BG05 is the darkest marker, and that is what's used closer to the edge. And then the lightest marker is what was used closer to the images, and I just sort of blended in between with the other markers. I also added some cool gray marker to the snow just to sort of ground those images. And then I just took a look at the whole image and made sure I hadn't missed coloring things. I had forgotten this package here, so I colored that in and just touched up any areas that needed some color. Then I decided that I wanted to deepen the color around the edges a little bit, so I just matched the paper color to a distress ink. I used my ink swatches there. And I'm just using an ink blender, and I'm just concentrating the color around the very edges of the paper and just dragging it in a little bit towards the middle, making sure not to go over the colored images. And you can see that just adds a little bit more contrast and makes the image pop a little bit more. I'm using this Uni Posca pen now. This has replaced my Sharpie poster paint pen because it works just as well, if not better, and it has lasted a really long time. I found with the Sharpies they would clog up or they would stop working. This is always ready to go, and it's very dependable, and I really like it. Again, just touching up some of those ribbons. Going over some of the gold ribbon with a sort of glitter pen just to make it sparkle a little bit. Then I'm going to get it adhered to my page. At this point, if you were making a card, you would adhere that to a card base. Just making sure it's straight. Then I'm going to put these delicate snowflakes on in that word die. I decided to try out these micro dots from Glue Dots. They're teeny tiny glue dots, and they worked pretty well. I find it's not as fast or as easy as using my Zig pen, but it did work and they stay put. So I have 3 sizes of snowflakes here. This die set comes with those 3, and then this word die is a separate die from Whimsy, and I'm putting that along the bottom there of where the snow is. And I'm just going to play around with the placement of that snowflake, making sure that it's where I want it to be. I decided to move it again. And that's basically it. My page is done now. Thanks so much for joining me. There was one addition that I added after I finished the page. I decided to add some enamel dots to the centers of the snowflakes. You can see that here. I felt like they finished everything off really nicely and they matched the papers. So my page is complete. Thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe so that you won't miss the next videos in this series. And don't forget to hit the subscription bell so you'll be notified. I have everything I use linked at the bottom of this video in the description box, or you can check out my blog. And here's some videos from last year and the year before series in case you're interested. Until next time, have a great day.